All right, you're at the Roadside Market session. All right, without further ado, we have How to Build a Website for Free by Peter Askew.
Yeah, my main, well, first I'm Peter Askew. I'm with A&M Farms in Lyons and Vidalia, Georgia. We operate onions.com and additionally VidaliaOnions.com. We're a grower, packer, shipper of Vidalia onions, and we ship those in season. The aspect of the business that I focus on is the farm-to-door component. We accept orders through the website, accept payment through our payment gateway, pack and ship, and UPS takes them from our dock door to everyone's front door to the lower 48, although we've shipped to Alaska before. I mainly mentioned this kind of rough idea to Kelly in the early days because I just remember how daunting it was when I got into this. I came in during the kind of the dot-com boom, and there were so many moving parts to how a website operates. It was somewhat daunting for me to try to understand how all these pieces fit together. And there's so many wonderful tools these days to build a website for free. Lots of free options, but there are free options with many annoyances to them versus one path that I'll suggest today with the minimum amount of annoyances, either pop-up banners that they force you to use, or persistent banners that stay on top of the page, or an ugly URL that's difficult to use or remember or tell your customers. So we thought we'd just kind of show one avenue that I've used and continue to use. It's what onions.com currently runs on. I use the paid version of this, and we can go into the paid option, but I wanted to go over the entire free option, and holler if everyone can't hear me enough. I'm roughly in front, but I tend to wander around from time to time. I've used several free website builders, and easily my favorite is called Card with 2 R's. It's a free website builder where you can go set up an account, and once you set up an account, they'll give you, once you finish some of your rough templates, you create for the most part, clean URLs. You have to use their primary domain, which is card.com. In this specific example, I'll show this URL again later in the presentation. Your domain, and you can use it for free forever under petersfarm.card.com. And this is actually a live website, and we can show it at the tail end. But once you sign up for a free account, it's a very clean, I've found it clean and simple process to go through. They roughly show you different templates, different designs to choose. And this specific example, I sort of like the color, the simplicity of the upper right-hand corner rough template design. It has like social buttons at the tail bottom of the site. So I chose it. And this is essentially what the builder looks like before you've launched and published the website. And you can simply go in and click certain sections of the website. So this is the header text. And when you click the header text, it gives you options to simply type in. There's no coding required whatsoever. There's no backend. There's no database to have to mess with. There's no rough graphic designs needed outside of populating maybe the background image of your header of the website. So you can simply go in and add the text in this section up here, and it'll update live on the page. And it even gives you options if you need to bold it, make it bolder, or put it in italics, highlight it in a certain way, but you're not required to do that at all. And you can update that section, and then once you create a header, and you can go into the same section and maybe provide background information on your farm. I sometimes consider these websites as just a good toe in the water. You're just trying to get a simple brochure of your farm on the internet and have options for, give folks your phone number, your rough address, email address, and you can even have options to plug into payment gateways. If you have a payment gateway through Stripe or PayPal, you could forward folks to your website and they could click a link and be forwarded to your PayPal account where they can either pay for products or services while they're physically on your property. But they have other options. So you click the plus button at the top of the page. And Kelly, this is what I was mentioning earlier. You have the option to add lots of other types of sections to your page. If you wanted to add a gallery, you see gallery right here, of several images from your farm. If you want to embed a video, say you've filmed a 2-minute overview of your property, you can include a link from YouTube, or you can upload the whole video within Card itself. Buttons, this is considered a button, almost like an action kind of button if you are trying to instruct folks to do certain actions on your website. And even forms, I use quite often. A form will simply have a submission area for the person to input their name, their email, or possibly a phone, and a message that they want to submit to you through the website. And on the back end, you essentially instruct Card to forward that message to your Gmail address or Hotmail or AOL email account, and it'll forward it through the Card system. Lots of neat bells and whistles. These are all included on the free option with Card. And the same goes for all these social icons. If you already have a presence on social networks, you can go in and choose this section similar to the same way we selected the header section, and simply cut and paste the URL of your Instagram page or Facebook account if you have a Twitter or X account, or any new social. If you have a TikTok account, you can include the icon for those specific social channels. And then when you're entirely finished with upgrading the text, including all the information you want to choose, in this case, I'll show you the finished version here. You can upload a background image, which I did, and at the final step, you hit the Save button, and it pulls out this Publish, where you want to include the title and the description of the website itself. You choose the Card subdomain, and you include, like in my example, I have petersfarm.card.com, and you hit Publish, and it's published on the internet, and you're able to share that URL with potential customers, put it on business cards, share it through other channels at farmers markets. And here's the example. And that domain is currently live. If you want to go to petersfarm.card, CARRD.com, and you can see how this renders on mobile. And this is a picture I took right before harvest one year, just in our field on my iPhone. And I just uploaded it to the site. It shows it as the background. And I just put it in some, we don't make onion pies yet, although I've always heard that I haven't had an onion pie before, but I always want to try one. But we also bake onion pies. And then I just included just basic text, like our phone number. I included a Gmail, my Main Street address, and then I was like, folks come to our packing shed and often purchase stuff, and sometimes maybe if they go home and maybe they grab something from us and they didn't have their payment method with us, so they just take something home, and we just instruct them to go to the website and make a payment here. This is just a sample, though, for what we do, but that could be an option. If they just want to pay for something, maybe have it delivered to their home, you could have that button, that Pay Here button, linked to your PayPal page, and then they can make a payment, and then the farm is notified of your purchase. And that domain, again, is petersfarm.com. The neat thing on Card, if you ever move to the point where you're comfortable enough upgrading to their paid account, they have some of the most reasonable pricing for running a single-page website. Their cost is per year, it's not even per month, it's $19 per year, which I've had a hard time finding a better deal to run kind of brochure, single-page websites. But you can also add, I say single-page with a caveat, you can still have basically different pages, a contact us page, maybe different, maybe if you have specific photos you want to show of different harvests per year, you can link different sections, which are considered pages within Card, on the website. And you can always link them within the page itself, on the footer. You can add a header, similar to websites that have header to different sections of the web page itself. I found those helpful. And I even added, I thought I'd get squirrely and add extra credit on here. Two options that I've always found helpful when I launch websites. I'm always curious about like how many people are visiting the website. And there's so many neat things. for the analytic systems for websites, you can place a small snippet of code, and it is all of cutting and pasting, and you can add that within, actually I'll go back and I'll show you. If you add this embed feature, you add it on the page, and then this similar side section will come out, and it'll have a submission box where you can paste your analytics pixel, and that will allow you to track growth of traffic to the website. If traffic's going up or traffic's going down. I always see it as sort of the heartbeat of our websites. I track onions.com, I track vidaliaonions.com, and it's interesting the seasonality I can see with Vidalia. Usually Jan 1, our traffic starts to dial up. Folks start thinking about spring. They realize Vidalias are going to be in the market come late April, early May. Folks start reaching out, and I can always see this bump in traffic coming to our website. So it, even in some cases, is a tap on my shoulder that we need to start preparing either for getting the website ready to accept orders, customer service aspects, or sometimes it's neat to see, oftentimes we'll be mentioned maybe in a newspaper article, and we'll see this spike of traffic. But maybe we aren't aware that we were mentioned in a newspaper article, and it's nice to be able to see where this traffic is coming through so we can attribute some of the potential sales or referrals from a specific source. It's also helpful from a marketing standpoint. If you advertise, say, on 2 different websites, and you're paying them the same amount, but a majority of the traffic comes through source A, it allows you to wisely spend your marketing dollars on channels that perform versus channels that may not perform as well. And then the second is collecting email addresses. This has been one of the most valuable aspects that we've done over the years, is consistently collect email addresses. Outside, Facebook is always helpful, but I don't control that customer. I prefer having someone's direct email because I can have a one-to-one relationship with this customer. With Vidalia, we roughly have 16 or 17,000 email addresses. So at the beginning of our season, I know I can drop them an email to say, hey, we're officially accepting orders. Button to click within the email. And Email Octopus is a email management service, essentially. If you're familiar with MailChimp, very similar to MailChimp, with a little bit more, I've found, a little bit more reasonable pricing. And allows you to collect email addresses. And the neat thing on collecting email addresses, you can collect them any type of way. I've seen folks have just a yellow pad of paper at their farm, at their packing shed. Folks come in and write down their email address. And what's so wonderful about it is these potential customers are giving you permission to send them messages, send them marketing messages, give them updates what's going on in your farm. Maybe you're selling a new product or service. Maybe you're selling either pick your own fruits or vegetables at your farm. And have the ability to reach out to them directly, and they have free options as well. The last I checked, you're allowed to use their service for free up to either 1,500 or 2,500 email submissions. So it gives you a very comfortable elbow room to collect email addresses. And you can also embed the email collection little snippet on your website from Email Octopus. They'll give you a little snippet of code that you cut and paste within that same submission area that I mentioned on card, and add it on your free landing page. And you can collect email addresses through your website, or at your farmer's market booth, or at your physical packing shed, wherever you have folks that may be coming by that may want to stay in touch with your farm. And that's a rough, I was going to leave for questions, or we also run e-commerce aspects of our website, which I'm happy to tell you how we did it, if that's helpful from an e-commerce standpoint. We covered that last year. My daughter wanted me to include a rainbow, so I included a rainbow on my end of my slides that she specifically asked. But
Peter, could you move back to the microphone for the...
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes. Yeah, but happy to cover any other aspects on, building some of these, or uploading images, or most of the images and video I've collected. We've been trying to go into YouTube as well, just creating what I've been doing. follow Aries Haygood. So he's our grower packer and owner of the farm, and he's the expert behind the Vidalia. So oftentimes I'm trying to bottle up his wisdom just to showcase on a YouTube channel. And I know that's somewhat evergreen, and it helps. There's so much traffic and so many people searching for content on YouTube, and we're trying to create that, and it's kind of a marathon project, but it's been so worthwhile for us, just from an educational standpoint. A lot of our customers tend to be folks either working in corporate America, and man, this is their release. If they're sitting behind a desk in some big, tall high-rise in big city, they get to watch Aries go through almost at least once or twice a month. We try to upload a new video of where are we in the growing process. So it's 8 months of content that we upload, from the seed to the stalk to the transplant to we trim the tops, and so we have the kind of the mowing process, then the harvest, and then we have our packing shed of just the Vidalias moving down the packing line. And even things that go wrong. I filmed things that go wrong. We had a tractor break down in one day, so that was an entire episode. It's like, this is what happens at the farm. This big bolt broke on the back end, so we had to go fix and I was like, well, I need to film all this. I'm going to share that on the channel as well. But unique ways just to try to connect with customers. But doing it in a very inexpensive way, because when we built our first version of Vidalia onions, I built it myself on a platform called WordPress. But there's no reason I couldn't have built it just on a single page, just like this. Card, this was 10 years ago. I don't know if Card was launched at that point. But I leaned on WordPress. A very similar process. I took a photo of our packing shed front door. I had a photo of Aries, and then I'd continuously visit so I could grab more content and photographs of the onions growing, just so I could have my own photos and hang out until sunset or sunrise. And these are so fun. And I've always just taken them with my iPhone, no fancy camera, filmed with my iPhone and taken photographs with my iPhone. Yeah, but happy to answer questions. And if I can't answer it, maybe I can point you in the right direction.
So the message back off of there, is there an opportunity that you pay, like, is there a link where I could ask you questions of Peter's farm from that page?
You could add that.
Okay, you
that
didn't have it on there.
I just didn't have it on there. You could add this form. So the form would be input your name, input your email address, and then it would have a body description where you could say, hey, what's your growing? When do you expect the season to start this year? Submit, and then it would come straight to me, and then I could just reply back from, peter@onions.com, or lots of options to add. Yeah.
Documents, like if you're a farm and you want to tell people what to do or what to expect when they come, and can you add documents to it?
You could add links to documents. Let me see. You could add, upload like a PDF.
Yeah.
I think you can. You could add a button, upload the PDF and have the button. If they click the button, you could have a page with the embed of you could have a section that isn't viewable on the page, but if they click the view documents, it could redirect to a separate page. So this control section right here is essentially a separate section of the website, technically a different page. So if you add a control, and then you have the next section of the website as documents, if they click the button, it would open the documents page. You can embed that PDF, because you can always change a PDF to a JPEG and include it as an image. You can even have directions to your farm. Okay, go up here. Google Maps is going to tell you to go here. Don't go there. Take a right, and then go up in this first house on the left. Or you can add that direction. Or you can just add it as text information. Say, ignore Google Maps. If you're trying to get here, go up, take a left, and then be able to find us correctly. Anything? Hopefully I didn't go too fast. Yes, sir.
Peter, do you think that this simple design is best? Instead of having, say, words at the top taking you to, about and so on and so forth, with buttons at the bottom, do you think? This is all taste and what you prefer, but I'm really asking you, what works best?
In some ways, and tell me if I answer your question, I was trying to view this from the lens of a farm having zero presence on the internet. So my first step in would be having a presence on the internet in any way, shape, or form is the best first step. Because you'd be surprised how many farmers and ranchers that I come across, zero presence, nothing. And I was like, gosh, it's so easy and you can have free options to do this. And it allows you to tell customers to go here to either, if you want to place an order, come visit, or allow other options. Yeah, if you visit VidaliaOnions.com on a desktop, I have a header image. Yeah, so when I almost see this is like training wheels, getting you guys online, picking one of these rough platforms, or these rough templates to use. Some are premium, which are the paid version. That one's a free, and you can see the ones without the premium. The purple one's a free option, and you can change the colors, images. I have found the menu is helpful, just to say about us, contact us. I have a farm news section on VidaliaOnions.com where I just do blog posts essentially saying, here's what we're doing this year, this week. Here's what the farm looks like. And then I have specific buttons on the page. I'm collecting email addresses. In our off season, I collect email addresses, as many as I can. And then when the season starts, roughly February, March, I send out an email saying, we're officially accepting orders. And I get a wave of orders in and say, this is pre-orders. We will start packing and shipping late April, early May. And then we can get that money in, hold the orders, and it allows them to be the first batch of boxes. And I send one or two out to that same email list. It is personal preference. I looked at a lot of different websites. I just almost like building a house, go look at a lot of different houses to figure out what design styles suit you best. And I personally built the first version of Vidalia Onions in a similar way, found a template, and then just crafted the template to fit what I needed the website to do. And then when this project became profitable, I just used the profit to hire a fancy developer who can do it much better than I can. And then got a designer to create a logo for us. And then we applied some of those to the boxes itself, so the boxes could have a roughly same design element from the website to the box itself. That I enjoy good design. I can't always afford it, but I always admire it. And whenever I can afford it, I try my best to have neat logos and try to have a seamless experience. So if they see the same onion logo on our website or our actually Vidalia Onions logo, that we have the same logo, if we can afford it, on the box itself or in our communications and our email, on our email blast that we send out. Go back to that photo. Just so they know who they're working with, essentially. Yeah. Did that answer your question? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
What do you use to send your emails out?
Email Octopus. So they'll collect your email addresses. They, similar to Card, will give you templates to use. So you can, similar to Card, upload a header image, adjust text on the page, and then you create what they call a campaign. You say, here's my campaign. This is my 2025 season kickoff. So I say, hey, and then I write the subject line of the email saying, hey, pre-orders are being accepted. Our 25 season has begun. And then they open the email, and then it's my rough design. Photo, season has begun. We expect to begin shipping. Here's a big green button so they know exactly what to do. Click this button, go place your order. That clicks over to our e-commerce that's powered on Shopify. Shopify has we have 5-pound, 10-pound, 25, and 40-pound box. They can choose their box, choose the size of the Vidalia, and then the order comes through, and then it starts going through our little process that we have. But yeah, Email Octopus is quite powerful. Even their free is quite powerful. Collects email addresses, and you can submit through their platform. So it's free to collect and free to send. I think it's either 15 or 2,500, it might be 2,500 email addresses that you can collect. And I think they have a certain amount that you can send every month. It might be 5 or 10,000 that you can send on their free version on Email Octopus. And there are other options. I've just found Email Octopus is reasonably priced. MailChimp was acquired by Intuit, and they've consistently nickel and dimed me on pricing, so I just bolted and went to Email Octopus. And they've been a great partner, reasonably priced for low and high level. I have 15 or 16,000 or sometimes 17,000 email addresses, and I think I pay around $70 a month for that service, and it may be double or triple that on MailChimp. So for the exact same service. Anything else? Web-related stuff, too, is perfectly fine. Well, good. Well, I'm at peter@onions.com. If anybody had follow-up questions that may pop into your head after this, I'm happy to help. Or if I can't, I'll point you in the right direction. That's one of the little designs that we created. After we got a little bit profitable, I had a little bit of fun money. I got a graphic designer to create that onion for me. And then we have another for Vidalia. I primarily use that for Vidalia, but I threw it all over the place just to make sure it's being used. Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure thing. The back came off on me.
All right. Thank you, Peter. That was interesting. We now, we've got Bethany Funkhauser is going to be our next presenter. Bethany, and it's up. So I'll let you introduce yourself the rest of the way. But anyway, here's Bethany Funkhauser. Thank you, Bethany.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. As Chalmers said, my name is Bethany Funkhauser. I work for Clemson Extension as an agribusiness agent. And today I'm going to be talking to you about utilizing online marketing tools. So a little bit of outline of what we're going to talk about. First, we're going to talk about the importance of marketing, why you need it as an agribusiness. Then we're going to go into some impactful marketing pieces and tips to create them. Then we're going to look more at where you create them, so the online marketing tools and what exactly they are. And then for the second half, we're going to take a deeper dive into Canva. That's one of my favorite marketing tools. And we're actually going to go on the website just so you can kind of see all that they offer and that you can do on Canva. So why is marketing important? Well, the first thing is it's going to allow you to create your own voice. Everybody has their own business and they have the reason that they're in their business. And your marketing is a channel for you to show people that and to create that uniqueness. So who are you? Who is your business? What do you stand for? What do you represent? This gives people an inside look and it makes people feel a lot closer to your business and want to buy from you, create that brand recognition. And then when people come to your business, whether that's in person or online, what do you want them to notice? What do you want their impression to be? You can create that, not only through marketing, but branding as well as they work together. As I said, your brand is your personality. And then also marketing helps with connections. So it's going to help you with your new customers. It's going to help you improve customer relationships. It's going to let you meet your community, but it's also going to let your community meet you as well. And you can meet other business owners through your marketing. So you can also promote your agribusiness, so lead your new customers to your website and let people learn about the products and services you have. There's lots of fun ways to market. We're going to talk about it here in a second. The ultimate goal is going to be to get people to purchase your products. So we can have fun with it, but also have the ultimate goal in mind of why you are doing what you're doing. And then I also like to say that another important aspect of marketing is to educate. For a lot of people, this is something that they choose to do with their business. They want everybody to know what's going on in the industry. So you can educate not only about your business, but about what's going on around you. Just always make sure you provide valid information. And then, as I said, one of the main pieces of why marketing is important is because it helps you make sales. You have to remember that this is your way you're doing it, so this is how you're going to get your products out to the buyers in a unique and eye-catching way. It can seem daunting at first when we go through this stuff if you maybe aren't into graphic designing or if it's something that maybe you're not like a creative person, but I promise once you go onto the stuff and you start doing it, once you have maybe one template where you have certain colors that you use, it'll be so simple to do and something that's almost like muscle memory when you start doing it. So we're going to be talking about marketing tools and marketing pieces, so I just wanted to differentiate them before we get started with that. So marketing tools are going to be the tools to create and or spread your marketing pieces, whereas marketing pieces are the content you create to reach your audience. So if you kind of think about it, the big arrow is the marketing tools are leading into the pieces, and the little arrows are where you make it. So we're going to start first with some marketing pieces, some of my favorite things to market with, and then we'll talk about where you can do that. So creating impactful marketing pieces that can showcase your farm. The first and probably one of my favorite online marketing tools is social media posts. I know not everybody is on social media, but vast majority of people are, and it's a really easy way to reach people, whether it's people that you see constantly where they buy products from you already, whether they come to your roadside stand, they come to the farmer's market, they know you're there. This is a way, as we talked about earlier, keeping up with your current customers. This is a wonderful way to keep up with them, but you can also meet so many new people. I know for me, when I'm like maybe just saw a new business, the first thing I do is I'm going to either go see if they have a website, which we're going to talk about that, and Mr. Askew talked about it as well, or I'm going to look for them on social media. This is an easy way you can go back and look at what they've been doing. If you have anything where you allow people to come onto your farm, I know the first thing I want to do is I want to go see what that experience is like. So seeing where maybe people tagged you in something, or where you've posted, where you had an event on your farm. Simple things like that is a great way to market your business, and a free way too, because you don't have to pay, you just have to take the time, which can be a lot to post on social media, but the time. I think the biggest thing with social media as a marketing tool is to remember not to bite off more than you can chew. Social media can be a lot. There's so many different platforms. Think of your target audience when posting on social media. If you have very young people and you like creating content, maybe you can dabble into TikTok. Whereas if you have like middle-aged group that they're just looking for like your products and maybe like what's going on the farm, sticking to Facebook is perfectly fine. There's plenty of farms and businesses that the only platform they use is Facebook, and that works just fine. So don't feel like you have to do Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. Like, you don't have to do them all. I would say just do what you're comfortable with and go from there. Next is logos. Logos kind of go with branding and marketing, but I like to mention them because I think they're a crucial part of marketing. So make sure you have something that's going to grab people's attentions. It creates a first impression. Sometimes people might not have walked up to your table yet, and that's the first thing they see is your logo. Or maybe they're searching for you on social media and they notice you just based off that little picture, that little logo that you have. So make sure you have something that's going to be able for people to remember. And it gives you a unique edge over your competition. Sometimes you might be sitting at the farmer's market right beside someone that has the exact same thing as you. Having your logo up where they can see it, they're like, yes, I know that's where I go buy my tomatoes, or yes, I know that's the person that I go to get my products from. And like I said, they'll be on the lookout for you. But I will say one important thing when you're creating your logos is where are you creating them? There's more information in here if you want to go back and look later about what I'm talking about, but trademarking is not completely required. I think it's a good thing to have your logo trademarked, but it's not required when you create it. But if you're going to create it on Canva, if you use a template, anybody else can use that template too, so just keep that in mind. You can use Canva if you use all simple shapes. You can trademark that logo, but as you get into creating your own logo and using images you find online, you can't trademark that. So just remember that. You can definitely use it as maybe a way to, lay out what you want to do, but just remember as you're creating it, where you're creating it, so if you decide to trademark your logo. QR codes. I love QR codes. I think they are a great way to bridge social media, online stuff with in-person stuff. If you've never used a QR code before, what you do is you open your camera and it'll automatically recognize this when you point your screen at it. This takes you to the Clemson Extension website, but then from there, they'll click on it and it takes them straight there, so you could link it to your website. If you don't have a website yet, you could link it to your social media page. If you have an online storefront, it could link there. So there's a lot of different things you can do with a QR code. You can have them on stuff you have online and someone can still click on them, But it's really great opportunity, like if you're out and about, maybe putting it on your business card and linking it to your website instead of just having, the link there for them. I think this is a wonderful marketing piece that some people don't know about. I will say this one is from Bitly. If you've never used Bitly before, Bitly will actually give you analytics. So when you click on it and you go to the link you created, it'll say how many people have clicked on the link. It'll give you like a breakdown of all information on it, so you know if people are actually clicking on your link. You can create one of these in Canva, it just doesn't give you that information. So Bitly, and there's a few others out there that'll say people are actually clicking on your link and looking at what you're posting. So I think it's really useful to try to create one. It's free to use Bitly. I believe they've updated it now that you have to pay the monthly subscription to see how many people have clicked on your link, but there's also others out there that are free as well. Okay, next marketing piece that I like is business cards. By a show of hands, who's received a business card today, whether it's from another farm, maybe in the showcase area? Yeah, so a lot of people have received at least one business card today. This is an easy but effective marketing piece. They can get costly if you print out a lot of them, but they're so simple because it's going to put your website on there. It's going to put where to buy your products. It's going to have your name, and it's going to have your logo. So you're kind of combining everything into one and creating that. So I think if you're going to do one thing beyond social media is have some business cards if that's within your budget. You can even create a digital business card if you know you have some tech savvy people that you're selling your products to. That's an option as well. Website design and templates. So Mr. Askew hopefully has maybe calmed your mind a little bit about websites, but they can be challenging, especially if you've never used one before. When you first set them up, it's a lot to it. It's not impossible, and it's something definitely everybody can do, but there are different designs and templates out there that you can use. Canva has some on there, and I'll show you some just so you can see. But they are templates, so you can kind of see a design and start putting in your own information. You can use that to embed on some website builders. I know on Wix you can take your design from Canva and embed it onto Wix. But whether you're doing that or not, even if you have someone that's helping you build a website and you just go and you lay out a design on a template of what you're looking for, it's a good way to get thinking about like how you want your website to look. And then obviously websites are super important, so make sure you highlight your business and where to buy your products. And there's so many more marketing pieces. I don't think I could begin to cover every marketing piece that's out there. You have flyers if you have events that you do with your business. Newsletters, this is a great way to keep people informed. Brochures, if you have lots of products that you want to get out there. Blog posts, I feel like blog posts have come back a lot recently, especially maybe you have a blueberry farm and you have different, like maybe you make jams and jellies with your blueberries and you want to put a recipe out there. It's a great way to have a marketing piece that's promoting your products, but it's not just, hey, I have this jam and it's $6. Like you're promoting it through saying, well, I have this recipe that includes my jam and this is where you can get the jam. And then websites, of course, and ads. I will say with ads, there's nothing wrong with paying for ads. I just think if it's not in your budget, that's completely okay. There's so many things you can do that you don't have to pay a penny, whether that's using social media, whether that's word of mouth. A lot of times, word of mouth does more for people than they realize. I know they're talking about like the passport program in Georgia and how that has like kind of catapulted a lot of businesses and then be able to reach people. So there's simple ways that you don't have to pay anything to market your business. Okay, so we went through some different marketing pieces, but where do you make those and where do you put that information when you make it? So now we're going to look at some different marketing tools. So the first one is email marketing. That was touched on a little bit earlier, but basically if you have an online presence and you have your website up and you want people to know about products you have, email marketing is a great way to do it. MailChimp was mentioned, Email Octopus. I do like Email Octopus as an option as well. That's a really good one. it's a good way. Just make sure you're not bombarding people. You don't want to send them, you know, you have in your Gmail where you see that one company that just continuously sends you stuff over and over again. And it's like, you just want to unsubscribe from them because sometimes it just gets to be a little too much. So you don't want to be that business. I would stick to letting them know when you have maybe a new product, or if you're going somewhere to set up and you want to make that known. Maybe you do like a monthly, this is where we'll be, this is where we'll be selling our products. If you do a CSA subscription, maybe you can use email marketing for that. So just think of things you can do without bombarding people, but making sure you get your products out there to them. Next, we touched on social media post, but social media, no matter what platform you're using, you can just create the pieces straight on the platforms, or you can use Canva, you can use Adobe Express. We'll go over a few of those in just a little bit, but you can use those just to create pieces to put on there. You can definitely just go on Facebook and click create new post and type up what you want to. There's nothing wrong with doing that, especially if you're just saying like, you know, this is where we're going to be at this farmer's market. But taking the time to create a more unique Facebook post can catch people's attention a lot more. Photos, people are going to stop and look at a photo before they're going to stop and look at a lot of text. So if you have a really good photo, maybe that you've taken on the farm, or if you have a photo that you've taken like of you at the farmer's market, that would be a good way to capture people's attention on social media. People love to know stuff that you're like, I'm just doing another daily task. Like, people love that. Like, it's not another daily task to them because it's not something they've ever done. So if you think of something you're like, this is boring, I guarantee you people are going to be like, oh, that's so cool that they do that. So sometimes you have to think outside the box of what you want to post on social media, but there's a lot out there that you can post. Your website, we've touched on the website, but if you don't have social media and you don't have a website, you're almost non-existent. You're not, because if people know who you are, they know who you are. But if people have never heard of you before and they don't know anyone to ask about you, if they can't find you on social media, if they can't find a website, if they can't find contact information for you, then how are they going to find you? So just even having something simple, just getting started, some simple website that when they Google your name, something pops up. They have your name, how to contact you, where to find you, simple things like that, just to get started. And then after you get started, of course, you can make a lot nicer website, include a lot more, maybe your mission, your vision, your values, different things like that. And my favorite part of marketing tools is creating content. So this is where you're going to go to create all those marketing pieces that we talked about earlier. So I'm going to go over two. I'm going to go over Adobe Express and Canva. We're going to go over first the pros and the cons. So with Adobe Express, if you've ever heard of like Adobe and like being able to go and look at PDFs, that's what Adobe Express is a part of. It's included in the Creative Cloud, so like Photoshop and all those things. If you're familiar with that, that's where you'll find Adobe Express. It is easy to implement your brand, and there's a mobile and a web version of Adobe Express. Some cons to Adobe Express, though, is it's not always user-friendly. Don't get me wrong, it's not like impossible to use, just sometimes it can be challenging when you first get started with it. And there are limited images and elements that you can use compared to Canva and others. For Canva, some pros is that you can create new and unique ideas. It's really easy to collaborate. If you have someone that helps you with your marketing and helps you with your branding, you can email it to them straight through Canva. So I really like that feature, especially if you have multiple people working on stuff. And then you can use it to create various promotional and educational materials. When we go on there, I think I'm still finding stuff on Canva that I didn't know you could do on Canva. So there is so much on there that you can do to promote your business. Some cons of Canva, this might be a me problem, but I find that it can be time consuming, especially when you start to look at everything that they have on there, and you start to look at all the templates. It can be a lot and it can be a little overwhelming, but I think once you have like your down like what you want, I think it can be a lot easier. And then it can be a challenge to use the free version if you want more access. I have the free version right now, so just so you can see like what stuff is going to be pro when we go on there. But it is not that much more expensive. I believe it is $12.99 a month if you want to use the paid version. So if you want a lot more access to more images and things like that, it might be worth paying the $12.99 a month, but there's definitely a lot you can do on there without paying a penny. Really good to explore it before you pay for it. Okay, and I also wanted to mention that there are so many more options beyond Adobe Express and Canva to create content for your agribusiness. I think it's important, like we're gonna go a deeper dive into Canva now, but make sure you research and understand what's gonna work best for your business, just so you know all the options that are out there. Okay, so Canva. So what is Canva? As I said earlier, it's an online platform and design space marketing tool for creating visual content and communication. So Canva provides a lot of different things. Design templates, so if you have no clue where to start, when you go into Canva, there's actually templates already built, so you don't have to do that. If you need a flyer and you're like, I can't start with a blank page, I don't know where to put anything but the title, there's a lot of different templates in there that you can use. There's lots and lots of images, icons, graphics, basically anything you can think of you can find in Canva. If you want to upload your own images, so if you maybe already have your logo created somewhere else, as long as you have it saved on your computer or saved on whatever you're working on, you can actually upload it. So let's say you want to use a template and make the pretty flyer, and then you'll just upload your own logo and pop it on there. And then, as I said earlier, you can use it to collaborate with others. And the good thing about it is a lot of times you can save it as a photo, you can save it as a PDF, so whatever works best for you. If you're gonna upload it to like social media, it's gonna be a PNG or a JPG. But if you need like Word document style stuff, you can also save it as a PDF. Okay, so now I'm gonna go into the free versus paid features of Canva. So as I said, there are plenty of features available to create your design. If you have colors specific to your agribusiness, you can go in and put those colors in there. You cannot save them, so you'll have to have the little hex numbers of what you want, but you can put the exact color you have in there. And then you have the access to the free images and graphics. I would say it's sufficient. If you want access to lots and lots of images, it might be better to pay for the paid version, but if you just need like an image or two and simple images, I've definitely found a lot of images under the free. And then you can still access templates. There will be some that you can't, but you still have access to most of them. As far as the paid version, you can create that brand palette. It's all the colors and fonts in one place. So when you go on there, you'll get to set up your colors, you add them all, and then you can even add fonts if you have certain fonts you want to use for everything. And then there are additional images and more templates. So it's basically like anything. When you pay for it, you get just a little bit more that makes it a little more tempting to want to pay the extra. But I've said it, but I want to make it known that you do not have to pay for Canva to successfully use it as a design space. And I said it, but I just want to make it known that there's so much you can do beyond flyers. You can create your logo on Canva, depending on how you make it and trademark it. Infographics, website design, create postcards, social media posts that are exact sizes. So when you upload them and someone's scrolling on their phone, they're not going to miss some of it. You know how sometimes you have to click on Facebook to see more of the image? Through Canva, you don't have to do that if you use the correct template. You can make brochures, videos. If you're a very creative person and like to make videos, that's an option in there. Business cards, this is a great place to design your business cards. I think you can even order them through Canva if you want, but you don't have to. You can just use that as where you design them. Newsletters, if you're interested in that. Okay, are there any questions before we get into exploring Canva? Yes.
Does Canva charge on a monthly fee, or is it based on usage?
So it is a monthly fee. I think you can choose to pay it all at once and do annually, but it's a monthly fee.
A monthly fee.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and you can create as much as you want in that month. Any other questions? I can always answer more at the end if you think of them. I just wanted to do that before we switched off the PowerPoint. Okay. All right, I'm going to go into Canva now. A show of hands, who's used Canva before? All right, so when you first go into Canva, this is my homepage on Canva. As you can see, I did use the free version and it ran out, so I thought that was perfect so I could show you everything you could get without using the paid version. You do get a trial, so if you maybe want to use it for a couple weeks just exploring the free version, and then you're like, well, I just want to see what the paid version is like, I will say if you're anything like me, once I tried the paid version, I'm like, well, I don't want to go back to the free version because I had access to all the fun stuff. So once you've tried it, you might want to continue using it. So when you go on here to the side, you have the different keys. So you have home, projects, and templates, and then your brand. So this is a premium feature as we talked about, but this is where you can set up your brand kit. I have like the Clemson brand kit in here, and you can add the colors if you have any extra colors, and then if you want to put any fonts, and you can actually add your logo as well. My favorite part is the templates. Sometimes you have an idea in your head and you just don't know where to start, and this is what I like using. So they have a lot of different sections on here. Obviously the business one, they have a social media section, education, video, marketing, print products, and cards. So under marketing, they have just about anything you can think of: business cards, flyers, logos, posters, brochures, newsletters, infographics. So let's just say we want to make a business card. So when we go here, these are all the business card templates. Now, as you scroll down, it's going to show you the different options. If you see the little crown, it might not have the, yeah, if you see just a little crown, that means it's pro. You can go in and edit it, but when you go to download it, it's going to put like the watermark over it. So if you want to just like play around with that specific design, you can, but you won't be able to use it. But you can see there's lots of options. Let me just put, so let's put, so as you can see, I mean, there's a few options on there, but you can get very specific and they'll continue to give you options. So let's go back to just a basic business card. And you can create it from scratch too. You don't have to use any of the templates that they provide you. I just find sometimes when you have something created to do, sometimes just having that little bit of a push with someone else's help can be nice. So we're gonna click on this one, and all you do is you just customize this design. And when you go on here, it's gonna be two, so this is the front and the back of the card. So right here, you could add your logo and then your information. And that's pretty much it. You can go in and change the color. So if you want a different color background, I recommend white. If maybe you have a two-sided business card, maybe the solid color with your logo on the other side. But sometimes when you have colored business cards, it can be a lot. So having that white background and then adding your logo right there and your information. This is also where you can go in and add other information as well. So let's see, I'm gonna take that off. And let's say you're like, well, now that I'm seeing it, like, I just want to make my own. So you can just delete everything off of there and start from scratch on that page as well. You can also do more than just business cards. And if there's something you see on here and you'd like me to stop, please just let me know. We can go back to that as well. Logos. So when you go into the logos, they have some beautiful logos. It can be really good for inspiration too. If you know you're going to trademark your logo and you don't want to just use one that you won't be able to, like that flower right there, you could absolutely use it, but so could she, and so could Chalmers. So it's there and you can use it, but just know that someone down the road might have the same logos. You know, I'm not saying like it's guaranteed, but just know if you pick something that's really popular on Canva, you might see someone else have it as well. But that definitely doesn't mean that you can't use the idea of it. So there's a lot in here. You can search it by word, by style. So I'm going to go into my projects. So I have a fake farm called Best Blueberry Bakery. This is the farm version of it on here. So I added a few things in here just so you could see. So I created a logo. It's nothing fancy. So all I did was I added an image. Both of the images you see on the screen are free images. If you're looking to add an image, you'll come over here and you'll go to elements, and then here's where you can search for your element. So I just want to look for a blueberry to add to my logo. So you'll search blueberry, and there'll be graphics, photos, videos, and audio. I'm going to start with graphics just so you can see. So as you can see with blueberries, a lot of them are the pro version, but there are definitely some on there that are not. This one is free. There's a couple in there that are free. The one I have on the screen is free. And you can also do photos too. So maybe if you want like a realistic photo in there, you can, but that's there. You can go in and change the font. So if you have a certain font that you use for everything for your business, you can go in and put it. And then you can add shapes as well. So that's all under elements, shapes, graphics, all of that. The text. This is also where you can see the brand. So I mentioned earlier, if you had anything you wanted to add to your brand, this is where you can go in and add it. And then your uploads. So as you can see, I have a lot of different uploads over there, but this is where you can add your logo. If you have any pictures on the farm, you can go in and add them here. And then we're gonna go ahead and go back. So I mentioned earlier about QR codes and how they're probably one of my favorite marketing tools. So this is just a random flyer that I had put on here, but I wanted you to see that the QR code is really simple to add on here. So when you come over to the side and you scroll down, it's actually right here. So you'll click QR code, and I already put just a link to the extension website on there, but once you do that, you can customize it. So if you have a flyer that is orange and you want a purple QR code, you can go in and change the background color and the color of the QR code as well. And then you'll just update the code and you have access to it. This is not one that you can see who clicks on it, but it's still an option to have it on there. So, does anyone have any specific questions as far as like flyers and different things like that on Canva? I have a few other things I want to show you, but I just want to see if you had any specific questions. Yes, ma'am.
You're talking about design, so after you design it, then do you buy it from Canva, or do you take that design and take it to another spot, like the business cards and stuff?
So you can, I'll go back to the business card just so you can see. You can get them straight through Canva. So once you've designed it, you can hit print with Canva and you can do that, or you can download the design so you can share, and you'll scroll down and there's an option to download it. And then that's where you have the option to choose the file type of what you'd like to download. So as long as you use non-premium images, if you have a free account and use everything free, you'll have access to download it immediately and you won't have to pay again. If you use, I'm gonna put something on here just that's not free so you can see. Okay, so if I put this blueberry image on there, as you can see, they've like crossed through it and put the watermark on it. But if I go to print it, when I hit share and I hit download, it's gonna either ask me to try it for free. If you use fonts that are premium, it's going to tell you you either have to pay for the font or pay for Canva. I recommend if you're gonna use Canva once, you can just go ahead and pay for the font that one time. But if you find yourself going back to Canva to create stuff, I would just go ahead and pay for the subscription, because by the time it adds up of the things you're printing, it's really not, I wouldn't say as cost effective to purchase each individual image. So you can, but I think it would be easier. So this one, it would be $1 to download it with just that one image on it. If you have multiple premium images on there, it charges you for every single premium image. Does that answer your question? Okay. And then I also mentioned about how, like, let's say you're getting started with websites and you just don't know where to start and you need an idea. When you come onto Canva, you can actually do the website. So if you come over here, it's under business and you'll go to websites, and these are different website templates. I'm not saying that you need anything this fancy, but this is here just to kind of give you ideas. I think that's one of my favorite parts of Canva, not only just to create simple marketing pieces, but also for ideas. Now, I'm not going to say that you're probably not going to use this if you have a roadside stand. That probably does not match your look at all. So you have to really sift through it and find stuff that'll work for you. But let's see here. You can definitely type, like, I'll put farm website just so you can see what will pop up. So there's so many different things that pop up when you put it in. That's a paid version, but that's one that pops up. And you can always go in and change the background image, so don't feel like what you see on there has to stay. You can take a template and delete everything you have on there and start from scratch. So everything you see on a template is completely customizable. This is just someone that's went in and created the template and made it where people have access to it. So you can still go in and change it all. So I'm going to go back to the one I have. And another fun part of Canva is you can actually have folders. So when I come over here, this is all my designs. So this is the recent designs I have. But you can also go to folders, and that's where I added Best Blueberry Farm. So under that, I have all my marketing pieces that I created for the presentation. This is a really good way if you have multiple collaborators for them to have access to it. So I have my business card so you could see it for questions. I put the flyer with the QR code, the logo, and the website. So when you click on the website, this is what they'll do, and then you can go in and change the image. So you'll just come over here, and let's say, so you want to change this photo. All you'll do is just drag and drop, and it actually puts it in that exact size. So you don't have to worry about, like, as you saw when I went in with that image, you can see it does not fit the size it has on there, but as long as that box is already there and someone's created that template, you'll just put it right in that exact spot and it'll create that size. So it's a really good option if you don't know where to start and you just need the size measurements. That's a good option to use. It is important to note, though, that this is not going to have, like, if you want an about section, this is only your home screen. The website template's only going to be the basics. And one other thing I wanted to show you under templates is the social media side. So as we said earlier, when you're scrolling through Facebook and one image is so big that you have to click on it to see the whole thing, if you use Canva to create your Facebook post, you don't have to worry about that. So when you click on the social media tab, they have Instagram post, an Instagram story. So if you need an Instagram story, you can go through there, Reels, Facebook post, cover photos. I think everybody knows how difficult it can be to get the Facebook cover photo, so they have the templates for that. But my go-to is the Facebook post. So when you do this, and you can even just create blank post, that actually takes you to the exact size. So when you upload this and someone's scrolling online, it's the exact size they need to see. You know exactly what space you need to fill. So it's a really good option to use if you're, like, trying to show maybe some products you have and different things like that. Are there any questions about Canva?
I just want to make a comment.
Yes, ma'am.
About how easy it is to use, and so you don't necessarily have to, what I did for having money, was a university person. And so instead of paying extra for the template, then you just do your project with all your correct colors that you needed to do and whatever staple you put at the bottom. Then you save it as a project. Then you open up an old project and just take out all the old stuff and put the new stuff.
Yeah.
So technically it was my template, but it was my free template.
Yes.
As well as my Facebook things too. So you just take them out, put new stuff in them, and save them as a project.
Yeah.
Then you don't have to pay for premium.
Yes.
You only have to do the hard work once.
And that's one of my favorite things about Canva is once you've already created that design once, like you don't have to create the wheel over and over again. Now, if you're looking for something different, like you can, there's a couple free templates on there, but you can like sift through and try to find something. But most of the time for your business, you want to have that cohesive look and everything kind of be the same. So like once you've created it once, you kind of already have the look. You can go in and change maybe where the image is located, what the words are. So it's kind of going in, as I had under there, one of the cons was the time consuming part. So maybe it's only time consuming once for you, but once you've done that, you can just kind of go in and change things around.
You just have to remember to change everything, or you send out things that have old stuff in it, and you look like an idiot.
Yeah, you don't want the wrong date on there.
So I would.
Any other Canva questions? And also, when you create a Facebook post, it's the same thing. So you'll come over here where it says share, and you can, this is where you can give other people access. So like I said earlier, you can collaborate with people. So if you have 2 people that work on your marketing and your branding stuff, this is where you'll add them. You can either give them the link or you can add their name on there as well. And then these are the different options. I know it was mentioned, but you can either download it or save it. And you can print with Canva too. I have not printed with Canva. I know a few people that have. It's about the same pricing as other websites, depending on what you're looking to spend on pricing. I would probably do your business cards through someone different, just because sometimes with business cards, you want that proof to make sure everything's in line. So I would try to make sure you find someone that's going to send you the proof and make sure everything's lined up before you order 1,000 business cards and maybe something's missing off of it. So I think probably to go somewhere else with printing out your business cards. But it can be a great spot to make so many different marketing pieces, whether you already have your brand put together or you're just getting started. Canva can be a really good tool to kind of help you get started. And if you've used it before, there's definitely lots more on there. I know as I go through, every time I go through, I find something different on there that you can do. I've created a video now on there. It was very useful if you want to do anything like that. There's avenues for it all. There are things beyond Canva that you can use. The only thing that I would say about Canva is just before you pay for it, know that there's a lot you can do without paying for it. So I wouldn't feel like you have to pay for it to use it. It's definitely options out there that you can do it for free. Okay. Well, if there are no questions, I'm going to put my business card that I made on Canva up, so just in case you have any questions. But just remember, as you're marketing, everyone's is going to be completely unique. You can definitely use other people's ideas for inspiration. Someone that lives in California is probably not going to be like, oh my gosh, she used the same layout in her flyer that I did. Like, how dare that person? If it's like your competitor, they might feel a little different. But there's nothing wrong with going on Facebook and looking at other farms and seeing what they're doing. There's probably so many people that would absolutely help you that have got into the marketing side of things and really, worked really hard on it. I'm sure they'd be more than willing to help someone that's just getting started. I would say just take it one step at a time because it can be a lot. You're already running a farm. There's so many things you're already doing, and the idea of doing all this stuff that sometimes can seem like a lot can really take your business to the next level. You can go from, maybe only reaching certain people to reaching people that you never would have thought you were going to reach before just through your marketing pieces alone. And don't think it has to be fancy. I know we looked at a lot of templates that they were very fancy looking and very well put together. I promise something that's simple can be just as effective. So don't feel like you have to have something that's off the walls. This, all I did was just put the font and our logo on there and a QR code. The QR code will go to the agribusiness page if you want to learn more about different things going on with the agribusiness team, but it can be as simple as this. So don't feel like it has to be something crazy. Sometimes the simpler, the better. If you have a simple logo, people are going to remember it. There's nothing wrong with having a logo that has a lot more to it, but I promise if you're going to print it out, sometimes having that simple logo that you can put on a hat, you can put on a business card, you can put on the side of your truck, just think about those different things and how far a simple marketing piece can take you. There's so much you can do just in promoting your business alone to get it out there to people that would have never known about it before. So that is all I have. If you have any questions, be more than willing. Yes.
This is kind of a totally left field question. It might also extend to the biggest concern, but outside of marketing in like the e-commerce space, I don't know if anyone had any, I know we mentioned Shopify. Anyone had any experience with the different e-commerce sales platforms? We use Square and have had success, but also challenges with it. If we're out of time, definitely a little bit
No,
of
you're fine.
A shiny object, but I don't know if anyone had any experience with different e-commerce platforms and what the benefits are.
Do you have experience with e-commerce?
Yeah, the first season, we launched our farm to door. We used a service called it's a weird name, Big Cartel.
Okay.
We used them because they had a free option. We could use their e-commerce platform to sell, I think their limit was 4 products for free. And so we have 4 boxes that we ship. So I was like, jackpot. But they had severe limitations. Guests or customers couldn't input messages. A lot of times our customers would come and send them as Vidalias as gifts, and so they couldn't send. But a wonderful platform to dip your toe in if you need an e-commerce option. Big Cartel. Test it out, and we tested it out. It worked, and then I graduated into Shopify. We considered Square. Shopify seemed to have the most integrations because we use Shopify to collect the order, and then we use ShipStation to manage when the box leaves the farm and when does it land on our customer's front doorstep. Is it lost? Is it kicked in? Is it stolen? So it allows us, and ShipStation gives us the power of almost like 10 employees in one because they're tracking thousands of boxes once they leave our farm. And then we can log into a dashboard, see the status of every single box that's left. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think if you're going to be having like the e-commerce, like I think it's really important, going back to like the website, having a place where they can find that information. So it's kind of like, it kind of all ties back together that the ultimate goal of your marketing is to sell your product. So having the e-commerce or having where they're going to find it. Thank you. Any other questions? Yes.
What is the difference between the one that you just named and Pirate Ship? We've used that one before. How is it yours?
I have never, Pirate Ship. I've never,
It sounds very similar to the Ship Station, so I was just curious if you'd already tried Pirate Ship before and it's changed, or?
Oh, it's what's similar to ShipStation where it just tracks every package that leaves your farm?
Yes, it's a way to create labels through UPS and ship products on your farm, and you can track everything on the website.
Correct.
It's really good, so whenever you said that, I said, oh, I've never heard of this before, let me see if you've already tried mine.
I've heard your name in passing, but when we officially kind of graduated out of, we had Big Cartel first, and then we were manually creating every single order. This is 10 years ago. Then we verified everything worked, and then I knew ShipStation was out. A friend sending T-shirts through it, and so I was like, "Sweet, dude, you've already done all the hard work for me." And I chose Shopify, and they both link together quite well. So I knew when the order came through, I could go into ShipStation, hit a recycle or just refresh. It'd pull in all the new orders into ShipStation. Then I had a button. All the PDF 4x6 labels are created. And then I just push those over to the thermal printer and it starts spitting out labels.
Okay, so that might be what's better about yours. So Pirate Ship does not integrate into our Shopify. It's completely separate.
ShipStation
So I was just
does.
curious
It's wonderful. So we'll get, so we collect all of our orders, and then every day, well, at the beginning of our season, we'll have thousands in there. So I'll batch together 500. It'll create 500 labels. Well, on the UPS roll, there's about 300 labels. So typically I do about 300, then fill out, use the entire label through a new label in the thermal printer. And so it'll create all the labels for me, and it'll spit out a PDF. Or it can integrate into, I have a Zebra printer, thermal printer, I'm not sure what you're using. It'll integrate into the Zebra printer, and then I can hit, it'll automatically push over to the thermal printer and start spitting them out for me.
thank y'all so much. I'm more than willing willing to answer any other questions you have once they start the next session. But if you need anything, you can reach out to me with my contact information I provided. I'd love to help you as far as like if you're trying to find something you need help with it or a logo. But thanks so much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining this session on understanding what makes a consumer a repeat customer. My name is Angie Yeonsuk Im, and I'm an assistant professor of hospitality and food industry management program at the University of Georgia. And at UGA, I teach undergraduate students, and I also study about employee behavior and then consumer behavior in the context of hospitality and tourism. So to begin off, I'm really excited to be here, and I'm honored it's such an honor to speak to you who work hard to create incredible experience for your customers and to connect people to the lands and the stories behind their food. So when you hear the word hospitality, what comes to your mind?
Friend.
Friend. Anyone else? Welcome. Yeah, there you go. So you could think of a warm welcome with a warm smile. You could think of the cold drink on a hot day, or you could think of making sure your customers leave not only with a basket of fruit and vegetables, but also memories that they can share and cherish with their others. So hospitality is really about being friendly and welcoming to guests and visitors. It is about creating an experience that makes people feel valued and cared for. So apparently I'm going to talk about hospitality today, but I want to show you how hospitality directly connects to customer service and how they really increase and create the value or the special, and using that, the principle of hospitality, how you can create standing out experience for your customers, whether they come to pick vegetables and fruits in your field, or whether they come to buy some jams on your farm stands, or whether they come to learn about your sustainable practices on a farm tour, because customer service is an action of hospitality. Then what is customer service? Customer service is anything that you do for a customer that enhances the customer's experience. So it's about how an organization and business interacts with customers before, during, and after sale. And it's about act of providing support for both prospective as well as your existing customers. So from the traditional perspectives, customer service happens or occurs when your customers walk through your business doors, right? So a lot of times it used to be the in-person or direct interactions at your business site. But we know today customer service happens anytime when customers comes to your business or places a phone call or when they visit their website or social media. Then why do you care about customer service? Because it directly relates to customer satisfaction, the overall feeling of the product and services that they received. Then why do you care about customer satisfaction? Because your satisfied customers is not going to be one-time deal, right? So they'll come back to you and they'll become loyal to your business. And what's more important, they can become your business advocate that talk about and recommend your business to their friends and family. So that's the power of customer service. The power of dissatisfied customers, even greater. So study shows that dissatisfied customers will tell between 9 to 15 people about their bad experience. And about 13% of them, they will talk more than 20 people. Put that in the social media world. Those bad experiences can reach out to hundreds and thousands of people. So that's why we want to make sure that we want to have a happy customer. Then why customer service matters in agricultural business? Because in general, a lot of times because of the limited interaction that a lot of producers have with their client or customers. And because of these limitations, we want to maximize, we want to make sure every moment counts, every moment matters. And good thing about customers in agritourism and direct sales, customers are not only simply looking for fresh products, they look for experience. They want to feel connected to the farm and to the place where their food comes from, which suggests that a lot of great opportunities or potentials that you can create to maximize or to increase your customer experience. So a couple of years ago, we conducted a survey, we conducted a study where we want to identify important attributes that people care when they go to agritourism sites. So based on the focus group, we identified multiple items that they care about when they go to agritourism. And there's a list of things that they care about, and then there's a next page as well. But then it turns out what's most important is that employees' kindness and friendly service, right? And then it was also, the survey respondents replied that facilities cleanliness is important. And also people think that enjoyable activities and programs is the important attribute when they go to agritourism. Again, this suggests that people looking for special experience and memories. It's just not just simply a product. Then we also asked, think about your past experience with agritourism. So tell us how satisfied you were regarding the following attributes that we listed in previous slides, right? And people acknowledge facilities, facilities cleanness and availability to use credit card, which kind of related to the convenience, and then in fact, the facility safety, right? So we can see that there's a tangible aspects that you have to satisfy, as well as the intangible aspects that you need to think of when it comes to customer service. Then let's think about how we can utilize that, how you can come up with some ideas that we can use in our farms. So first and last impressions count, right? So think about it. Think about every moment that you have your customers. So you want to create or build a recognizable brand, whether you have a physical location or not. So again, every moment, touch point matters in that regards. So you want to make sure that opportunity for interaction must be carefully executed, whether that's just at a farm or whether that's a website, right? If we have a physical locations, simple gestures like easy to follow directions or welcome sign and thank you, come back again sign kind of things kind of show you that represent or express that you care about your customers. So impression, you create a positive impression. If you have a website, I know you hear a lot about website, but from the customer service perspectives, website is very important, especially in today's among the customers. If you have one, make sure that you keep up-to-date information and include contact details and make sure that you provide easy communication methods. And if you received messages from web page, make sure that you answer them in a timely manner, which is very important. Also, if you have a Google business profiles, also make sure that you update your business hours if there is any changes, because people really care about those informations. A lot of times today, customers go to web page to look for their information. If you have a website, make sure that you have photos or some of your stories, unique stories, and your history on your web page so that you can have a connection with the customers even before they come visit you. So solving customer problems is another good, important element when it comes to customer service. So imagine that people come to your farm to pick berries, right? So family come, they're excited about it, they really enjoy their activities. But at the end of the day, they also wonder what I'm gonna do with all these berries that I just picked, right? Simple ideas, you could provide not just product, which is berries, but you could provide some sort of guidelines or some handouts, how you store them, how you make into dried berries or freeze them or making into jams and other things. Another idea is to sell prepackaged do-it-yourself jam kits where kids can make the jams or gels depending on what your products have. But that's just a simple idea how you can provide not only product itself, but the solution. Because the whole thing is sort of create unique experience. Educating your visitor about your operation is very, very important. As we mentioned, people come to you not just for fresh products. They want to they want to experience, right? They want to know, people today, they want to know where their food comes from, how they made it, who planted, how they harvest them, etc. So those education piece, you have a knowledge and people do not, like customers do not. So share them. They will really remember the education piece, and then that creates a unique experience with your farms. Customer complaints is really important. Probably you have your personal experience where you are not satisfied, you are not happy with your products that you bought. And then you contact your business, right, the business, and then if they are willing to solve your problems, and then if they are trying to make up for their mistakes, for example, you become loyal customers. I have a lot of experience, and my friends also have those kind of experience. We share them, right? So turning a complaint into opportunity to build loyalty is an important. When customers complain about their services and products, then you could provide some other solutions along with other things. Surprise them. They will go a long way. Community is also important in the context of agritourism from the consumer perspectives, because they want to build, they want to experience some sort of attachment. So if you have a community that you can work with, make sure that you work with them and then you highlight them, your contribution to your community. That way you can reach out to some of the customers that share your values and missions. So we talked about how intangible stuff is important to create a positive customer experience, but also there's a physical areas that has to align with your customer service or the intangible perspectives, which is your product and your facilities. So make sure that you maintain clean, accessible, and safe customer facilities. As we shared the previous study that we did a couple of years ago, people care about the facilities, right? And then get feedback from your local fire departments and police, and then see whether if there's any areas that you could improve, or if you comply with all these regulations and local laws, promote that. Communicate that with your customers, because consumers do not know unless you tell them. So be proud of what you are doing and your efforts, and then share it with your customers. So when it comes to customer service, a lot of companies fail to sort of evaluate their status, they evaluate their activities. So the evaluating your customer service or assessment is another important piece. Ask customers feedback or suggestions. So for example, you could have suggestion box on your facility, or you could have some sort of surveys after they visit your farms, and then review the comments, right? And a secret shopper would be a good idea so that you can have some sort of third opinions, how you're doing in terms of customer service, how you're doing to please to interact with the customers. And detailed records of sales and inventory data, I think it's very, a lot of studies suggest it's very important. A lot of times we kind of included that, and then we kind of separate that from customer service. But it is important to know what customers are looking for in terms of updating your understanding of customers' wants and needs. So have the detailed records of sales and inventory data. That kind of tells you how customers change. Last year, we conducted a study. We asked people where they hear about agritourism activities. Let's see. So word of mouth and social media kind of related, right? It accounted for 42% of the channels they learn about agritourism. And web page and blog, and then it's another 16% that account for, that kind of explains that it is as an important channels that people learn about agritourism. So again, social media and the web pages or the word of mouth that we talked about in the previous slides is important. And let's talk more about social media from the consumer perspectives, customer service perspectives. So whether you like it or not, whether you agree the idea of social media or not, it's very important tool today because that's where people get interact and get the information about you and about others. Then the question is, there are so many different social media platforms. What would be the best platforms for you? So you could look at some of the most recent study about social media usage in the United States. And most US adults use YouTube and Facebook. And half of the adults use Instagram, right? So YouTube, by and large, is the most widely used online platforms. Looking at this, same most recent study also analyzed how age difference on this each platform's usage, right? So as you can see, YouTube and Facebook probably the only platforms that majority of the all age groups use, even though YouTube still has about like 33% differences compared to the youngest and the oldest users. But still, YouTube, as you can see, YouTube is a very popular one, and then Facebook has the least age differences between the oldest and youngest users of each platforms. Social media usage can be also interpreted based on other the social demographics, such as age, gender, race, ethnicities, income, and other things, right? So based on your customers, based on your targets, you could look at what people use, like what platforms are most popular, widely used, and then use that platforms and use it as your main social media channel so that you can connect with your customers. So as you mentioned, social media, whether we like it or not, become one of the most important tools today because of this immediate, transparent, and the personalized surveys that social media platforms provide. So use social media to build your brand, to communicate with your customers, existing and potential, and create a way to engage them. You can do the hashtag, some of the promotion things, activities. And one of the social media, what it can does is that you can create your reputation and brand images and others working with your customers because customers that actually work for you, right? They talk about you on behalf of your business. And so to do so, to utilize social media, what some of the ideas, you can repost the customer's praise and express appreciation to customers for referrals, right? And another thing, we talked about how is it important to address customers' complaints. So when people complain about your business on social media, it's a great chance that you can explain to them. You can apologize, but then also it's a great chance for you to explain and how you can make things better. That way, people do not have a bad idea or wrong impression about your business, right? And then also, because customer service has to do, your team members also has to participate in the customer service, the positive customer service. You have to teach your team members how to respond, how to work with the social media. So speaking of team member, like teaching team members, let's talk about your internal customers. A lot of hospitality companies, like hotels, restaurants, and resorts, and events, etc., they have a strong philosophy where if you treat your internal customers well, your internal customers treat your external customers. Makes sense, right? So it is very important to think about how you want to treat your internal customers, which is your team members. Because at the end of the day, your frontline employees have a huge impact on your business, the impressions. It creates how customers perceive your business, right? If they have a positive experience, the frontline employees, for example, they'll think highly of your business and vice versa. So by satisfying your internal customers, we can create a solid foundation to begin meeting our external customers' needs and their wants. Then let's talk about some of the ideas how we want to train employees from the customer service perspectives. When you have your team members or your employees, make sure that you have customer service basics. Don't assume that everyone knows customer service, and don't assume that everyone knows how customer service should look like on your farm, because you'll be surprised, right? So by doing some sort of role plays on common scenarios such as greeting customers, answering questions, how you deal with complaints, positive tones and body languages, etc., that could be a really important training things when it comes to customer service. And product knowledge is another important thing. Make sure that your employees understand your products well and then your histories. So that can be a really good way to interact with your customers. Introduce hard method when it comes to dealing with complaints. So you hear when customers complain, you hear, empathize, apologize, resolve, and thank. That's a main tool, the protocol that you can come up with depending on your business. You can modify that, and that sort of protocol help your employees to deal with the customer's complaints. And again, we talked about social media interaction, right? Because you want to keep the consistency when it comes to messages, when dealing with the customers, you want to train them. Probably if you have a younger employees, they are technology native, so they're so good with social media and other technologies. So it'll be easy to train them in that regards. But key here is that how we want them to use professionally, right? So professional language, professional interaction with customers, in addition to the fun way, entertaining way, is important. So train them how to respond to direct messages promptly and creating engaging posts with customers. Sales and upselling techniques is important. So it's somewhat related to the product knowledge and the items that we talked about in previous slides. By training your employees how to upsell some of your products, it can generate additional revenues. Also, it can create an opportunity where you can create the produce experience with the customers. So as an example, if you sell berries, you can teach the employees, these berries will pair perfectly with our something because of certain reasons. So by train them to have a solid understanding of your products and some of the suggestions or recommendations to your customers, you can create some of the opportunity to upsell your product as well. And food and safety and handling is, of course, another very basic but fundamental areas that you want to train them. So empathy and communication skills. So I guess it depends on what kind of the customers you have in your visitors you have in your farms. But if you have customers from, let's say, as an example, from different cultures, for example, right? Then you want to make sure that how to deal with that, how to communicate with people from different background and culture, which will make a huge difference. And the use of technology, if you have used some of the softwares and systems to make a payment, etc., train them, because a lot of times you'll be surprised how customers get so frustrated with the payment, like the speed of payments process. Local knowledge is another thing that you can sort of add to your business, to your employees' training. So teach staff members to become local ambassadors. So tell them or teach them or sharing information on some of the activities that they can do within your communities or some of the restaurants, because customers or the consumers are looking for those options as well, right? And emergency preparedness, of course. So overall, what we can see here in terms of training employees is that you want to make sure that teach them or train them in terms of customer service, right? So by role playing or other forms of methodologies, you can sort of let them know the importance of customer service. But what's more important or equally important is the continuing education. So on a regular basis, you want to make sure that you remind them of the customer service. And what's good thing about this process is that you could share some of the experience of your experience and then your team members' experience. Because oftentimes your customers change, your customers evolve. Their characteristics changes too, right? So by learning, by collecting this experience from different employees, you could update the unique version of your customer service as well. And think of some of the incentives. So have a monthly hospitality hero, and then keep track of some of the reviews and comments that if customers mention on your specific employees, acknowledge them and give some small gifts, because employees will be appreciated by the fact that you care about them. So in summary, I can give you farm care customer service checklist. F, focus on customer needs. But again, it's important to know that how customer service, your customers changing. And always educate. Education piece is especially very important in the agritourism sector based on the study that we did. And R, respond promptly and kindly. M, make a memorable experience. And C, cultivate online presence through your web pages and social media. And A, assess and improve your customer service. R, recognize your community impact and highlight that, celebrate that with your customers. And E, empower your team members. So that's the things that that's all I prepared for today. And I also brought some of the ag forecast regarding agritourism and direct sales and drinks and beverage in the state of Georgia that my colleague and I produced for ag forecast, as well as I brought some of the checklists that we did, the farm care checklist, and then it entails some of the specific questions that you can ask yourself and update your customer service. Any questions, comments? Yes.
So on the social media, have you studied using paid advertising on Facebook versus just Facebook posts and the value of that?
Right. We haven't personally, but we've been reading some of the other studies where there's a huge differences. Well, what I say customer service in terms of social media, we talk more about the interaction between customers and you or business farms. From the efficiency, that I don't know the answer to, whether ad will be better or free version will be better. But from what we studied, is it important that you actively interact with the customers? I think that's more important than whether you have advertised paid ads or not. Right.
What we'll do is we'll put her handouts on the back table so it's easy access and you're not like, let me awkwardly come to the front. So we'll do that.
And then ag forecast as well. And some business card.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Kelly. So go at it, girl. Thank you very much. What you gonna talk about? Life hacks and tricks of the trade.
That's right. That's right. This mic is very hot, as they say. All right, so we're going to talk about the little things that you can do that can impact your day, impact your family, and impact your farm. And some of these are things that I've gathered over the years, but I also asked a lot of the farmers that I work with, and so you'll get to hear their input as well. I'll introduce myself. I'm Kelly Henry. I work with Georgia Farm Bureau. My husband and I have started a farm this year, and we're also starting a family. So if anyone is looking for life hacks, I will be the first to raise my hand because we are very busy. It's always fun to throw a disclaimer in at the beginning of any presentation. So I'm going to say some of the resources that I'm sharing, I'm not endorsing, and there are other solutions. Raise of hand, has anyone read Franklin Covey's 7 habits for highly effective people. Okay, we got some hands. All right, I read the Reader's Digest version, so I am not an expert in that, but I did take his 7 habits, and I inserted what content is actually applicable to this group into those thoughts. So just so you know the structure of our time together. So his first thing is being proactive. So I was thinking about my dad in this scenario, and I have this very clear image of his farm truck. And a lot of you guys may have the same farm truck that is full of things, and there is receipts all over the dash. And you're like, I don't know how you keep this straight, and tax season is very stressful for you. If this is you, here's a hack for you. If you have an iPhone, in your Notes app, you literally open up this app, and there's this little paper clip. And when you do that, you can scan documents, and it is very easy. From there, you can scan like 20 receipts at a time. You can email them to yourself. You can airdrop them. You can put them on a file on your phone. So you can literally have like tractor maintenance. Like that's all in a file. Or, you know, farm truck, like gas, like that's all in a file. It can be easy to get that under control. If you don't have an iPhone, or even if you do, I've heard from multiple farmers that they use Scan Genius and they love this app. So take it if you will. Another way to be proactive, I don't know if you are like me in any way, you have forgotten to text someone back before and you felt really bad about it. Well, there's not many excuses for that anymore. Here are 3 ways to be better at that. One is that you can pin conversations. You can pin 9 of them. I've got the hubby up there in the top, and then I've got my coworkers. So whatever conversations that you need to make sure that you're not dropping the ball on, you can pin them to the top. They will always stay there. A second way is that you can unread text messages. Also, I have an iPhone, so if this doesn't apply to you, I'm very sorry. But you can just literally swipe unread after you've read something, so you can follow up. And then the third way, and this is new, is that you can now schedule text, which is amazing. I literally saved my own self just yesterday because I remembered my brother's birthday, and I went ahead and like scheduled that puppy out. So on his birthday morning, he already sent me back like, thank you so much for thinking of me. And I was like, I wasn't, but I did before. So if that is you, be proactive. Another way, make organization easy. Don't make it hard on yourself. Find tools that are going to make that just simple and natural. So these are usually you hang it on the closet door, you put your shoes in there. You can also hang it in your car. So I'm genuinely thinking about getting my dad this for Christmas for his farm truck, to be like, put your pliers in there that you're going to use, put your gloves, put your emergency snack, because we all know that you're not going to stop and eat till you're about to faint. Like, all of those things, just make organization easy. Whatever seems to be like a stress point on your farm that just always feels chaotic, let's just think about a way to make that simple. All right, another way, let's make remembering easy. So a lot of people have already started talking to me about pregnancy brain, and I'm not excited about that. But I'm going to try to implement some of these ways to remember stuff. If you've ever forgotten to turn off the water, you probably got in trouble. I have before. You can literally buy these bracelets for super cheap on Etsy. Turn the water on, put this bracelet on, go do whatever you're going to do, and you remember, because it's dangling there, that you've got to go back and turn that off. You can get this for other reasons. Maybe you have an employee who's like really bad at closing the gate or something like that. Just these like literal physical, tangible remembrances. Make them work for you. All right, this is my last one in this category. We all get hungry. Some of us get hangry. So my advice to you on this is just go ahead and be proactive, because we all know you're going to eat at least 3 times a day. There is a website called 5 Dinners 1 Hour. It's a subscription. You go on there, you literally pick the recipes that you want to eat that week, and they make your grocery shopping list for you. You can download it into Instacart, so that way you don't even have to go grocery shopping. And then it has all of your like prep work that you can do to get that all knocked out and make your dinners really simple. Something that I do, and if you want to geek out about it, because it's the little things in life, I have a binder. And I got this idea off Instagram. I literally, for every day of the week, there's a theme. Taco Tuesdays, slow cooker Sundays, pizza Fridays. So I literally have a theme for every day of the week. And when I don't want to have to think about stuff, I will literally sit down on a Sunday. I will flip on page Sunday. I will pick a recipe, whatever. Each day, I literally just pick a recipe. They're all the recipes in the book, stuff I know how to make. So I don't have to think about it. And literally, I buy my groceries on Sunday, and my plan is already mapped out. So when I get home and I've thought about all the things in the world, but I just arrived home, I don't have to think about what I'm doing for dinner. It just makes it so easy. All right, the last one on this, it's, of course, make everything in bulk if you can, right? Why not? But did you know that they now have these freezer things that you can pour your food, that sounds really gross. You can put your food in these single serving containers and freeze them. So whether you have a whole family and need to do a whole pan, but if you just want to do these single serve things, you can literally freeze those and pop them out for any time that you need them. Especially if you're traveling or whatever, it makes that so simple. And then my brother does this. He literally has this lunchbox that you plug in the car and it heats your food. If you've never heard of that, I had never heard of that. I think it's amazing because he was gaining, well, this is recorded, but he was gaining weight from eating fast food. But he didn't feel like he had any other option. But he found this and now he lives real good. So maybe this will work for you on your farm. All right, number 2, beginning with the end in mind. Some of you are not list people. If you are my people. I love a good list. It just makes everything less stressful knowing exactly what you've got put before you. Chloe Harrington from Harrington Farms said, with hers, she's been able to start grouping her tasks together by time and by location, which saves them running back and forth unnecessarily. So this is a super simple concept to add into your life, but don't waste time going into town multiple times. Literally think about all you've got to do and just group those tasks. All right, this is another one, an annual projection or review. I love that we're presenting in January. So if you have not done this yet, I highly recommend that you do this. And as much as I'm a proponent, as you'll see in a minute, for digital, I really recommend y'all getting a paper calendar so that you can literally, year at a glance, look at this. I texted Laura the other day, and she sent me a picture that they were working on of doing their calendar, and she said, this year at a glance calendar helps me to download what's in my head and better visualize and plan and find great success. She also puts her downtime on there, and that helps both her and her employees. Now, pro tip, if you're going to buy one of these calendars, don't just buy one that's like a block for January, a block for February. Literally buy one like this that the whole year flows together, because we all know that if the 1st is on a Monday, it all flows together. Time is this funny thing. So just go ahead and get it where you can literally see how your weeks are going to look. All right, now moving to the digital side. So once you've got your big goals, your big trips, your big events all up on your calendar that you can see at any point, then you can get into the nitty-gritty with your digital calendar. So I had a lot of people talk about this. Chloe was saying, again, it helps us manage our time on the farm and at home. She said it was not always easy for her husband and her to stay on the same page, but now they can because they can share these events with each other. It keeps them aware of what needs to be done, what needs to be prioritized, and it helps them to make sure that nothing falls through the cracks. What I want to point out with this, if you don't already use it, it can be on your computer and an app on your phone. So literally anywhere you can access this, you can see what's going on. And what I love about this, if you know Georgianne Polk from Polk Vineyard, you know she's got multiple kids. They're in high school. They've got activities. Everyone on the family is on this. Everyone has their own Gmail account, and so now they can just share these events with each other, and the whole family can stay in tune. All right, weekly meetings and quarterly checkups. I'm sure no one volunteers to do this, but it is so good. So ever since David and I bought the family farm, we have implemented in our life Monday night meetings. And so literally we finish supper and like we jump into our meeting of the week. And we talk about every event or like traveling that we're gonna be doing that week. We talk about what our goals are and we discuss our priorities. So we have like our big three that like this has gotta get done this week, and then like this would be bonus if this could happen. So it keeps us like knowing what's going on in each other's life. And then I put on here, you can mark off what you've done. It literally, so every situation is gonna be different. But coming out of my like first trimester where I'm like super tired, David's literally had like 10 things that he's completed that week and I've done like 1. So like it has really spurred me on to like hearing his accomplishments. I'm able to cheerlead for him, but I'm also like, man, I gotta get after it because I wanna be like a really good like team member and spouse. So, and then something that Joy added is that when they're doing like their quarterly meetings, they take the emotion out of it. Like they're treating their farm as a business and they're assessing the revenues, the labor that's involved, and they are able to streamline, but they review every quarter because things change and you need to know, stay on top of what works for you. All right, number 3, putting first things first. So if you know what's really important, if my morning starts like this, and this may not be your picture perfect morning, but if I exercise and then I have my Bible time and I have a good breakfast, I feel like Superwoman. Like I feel like my day has started the way that it needs to, and it takes a whole lot to derail me because I've already been successful that morning. Like I feel good, and like that just kicks off my day well. You may say, well, Kelly, I am not a morning person. Well, what are your nights? What do your nights can do to make your next day easier? My husband is not a morning person, but that means he goes ahead and picks out his outfit and sets the coffee because those are things he's gonna have to do anyways, but he didn't have to think about it. He can just appreciate the work that he's done. So even if you say like, I'm not a routine person, go ahead and think about what would actually help me for later down the road, and just go ahead and like bite the bullet. Just do it. You'll never regret that you did. And if you're looking for a great exercise, I'm gonna plug Peloton. It's an online app. It's like $10 a month, and you can pick all kinds of exercise classes, all different links. So it makes life really easy. All right, number 4, thinking win-win. So partnerships. This is where you're gonna need to get creative and think about who's in your contact, who's in your world. Lori Archer was saying, if you partner with somebody, you double the work, but you can do it in half the time. So what does that look like for you? I do a work swap with my mother-in-law. Is there another farmer or another mother or another blank in your world that you can work swap with? That you're able to knock something out that you're not looking forward to doing, but if you had somebody, you could just do it a lot quicker and then just trade work that way. Lori Archer, actually, she is a wealth of knowledge. She's gonna teach me how to make soap. And in return, I'm gonna teach her a different skill. So even if it's not a work swap, is there a knowledge swap in your community that you can do? All right, thinking win-win, again, is social media. We've talked about that a lot today. A lot of farmers had social media praises to say. Chloe was talking about it's such an effective way to promote their farm, to share updates, and to connect with the community. It's helped them grow their customer base and have a personal connection, which has been where that win-win comes in. And Stuart Gregg was saying that's the biggest thing that they've done for their farm. So I know social media can be overwhelming at different times, but there is different platforms that you can schedule out your post if you need to. But just make sure that someone on your farm is doing this, because it is a negotiable, but in a way it's really not a negotiable anymore. All right, number 5, seeking to understand before being understood. As this relates to products, Lindy Savelle with Georgia Garden Citrus was talking about how she offers things that she doesn't even like on her farm, such as strawberry ice cream, that she does not like that flavor, but that is a lot of people's favorite flavor. So as you're building out what you offer, don't just offer the things that you enjoy. I would say use social media to your advantage and put polls on your social media, like what flavors would y'all like to see this ice cream in? Or if I planted blackberries, would you guys come pick? Like, it's okay to communicate with your community and figure out what would be successful. All right, this is also, I have to plug David because he's at home where it's really, really cold and he's taking care of all of our animals, so I appreciate him. Marriage. So I felt like this had to go in this category of seeking to understand before being understood. This makes it sound way more whatever than it is when I call it a marriage meeting. We literally on Sunday nights touch base. And it started with our Sunday school class. We had a girl in there who just completed her counseling classes. And so she was just sharing some things that she had learned through counseling school. And just the fact that if a couple will get together and talk through some hard things and have that communication, they wouldn't really need to see a counselor. So this has probably saved us the money. This is just examples of questions that we ask each other every week. How have I made you feel loved? If you can communicate that, if I can tell David, you made me feel loved this week because you fed the animals before I even got home. You know what he's probably going to do next week? He's probably going to feed them a whole lot more that week. So it's a way to emphasize what you need, and you can see more of it. How can I be praying for you? How can I make life easier for you next week? If I'm going to be on the road traveling, I know what makes his life easier is if he has food in the fridge, period. So if before I travel, can leave that. So just communicating those things, and that just trickle over effect into every area of your life. All right, number 6, synergizing. So thinking about your team. Something, I don't know how many of y'all know Kenesha Miller from EM Farm, but she literally is such a hard worker. She started her farm so small, she was literally hauling 5-gallon buckets of water to be able to start her farm, literally a go-getter. And so she had to build it to have resources to be able to grow more. And she said, sometimes I wish I implemented earlier. I just read that, weird. Earlier was a team, outsourcing my tasks to others. Of course, I didn't have the financial resources to pay for others for tasks I needed to complete, but now outsourcing Team EM has helped me earn more money in the long run. Farmers will be surprised who are willing to help them. Pay people fairly, treat them right, and you will have loyal employees by your side. So just thinking about ways that you can build your team. Maybe you're not paying them just in money because you don't have money, but maybe you give them some vegetables. There's different ways to start your team. This is not a picture of her, by the way, but I picked this picture because it had a dog in it. And my team on my farm, my dog is part of my team, and he's able to protect me and help my burden when I'm rounding up sheep or livestock. So think outside of the box of what team means to you. All right. This slide should just say networking, networking, networking. I heard this from so many of the farmers that I reached out to, how important it is to just literally talk to other farmers. And as a side plug, literally what we're doing after this talk is having a networking time. So I hope that you will stay for that. But Kenesha was talking about, like, you never know what information another person has that can positively impact your business. Barry was talking about going to things like this, but again, talk to other growers. Something that I love that when Joy was sharing, she said, become familiar with other farmers in your area, not just for knowledge, but so that you can support and promote each other. She literally does that so well with Kenesha at EM Farms. They promote each other's farms because they're right down the road from each other, and they're able to like work together on that. Also pointing out that not just farmers you need to talk with, but like anyone who's working in the Department of Ag. If you're open to being on the Farm Passport, like I'd love to be your cheerleader. So literally all these different organizations, like what's the worst you can do when you introduce yourself to someone? Like start a relationship. And the great thing about being in agriculture is that we're a really welcoming group of folks. All right, on the last point of Franklin's points is sharpening the saw. It's so important to take a break. And I know that I'm saying this to you guys and you're like, I don't have time to take a break. I'm like, no, you've got to sharpen the saw so that you can keep going. It's so important. Chuck was saying, enjoy the little things. Kyla was saying, take time to decompress each day and take time. Like just take a moment every day. It's not selfish. It is literally so that you can keep going. Jennifer Futch, they literally are open like year round all the time. And this was like one of her first times that she's ever closed for Christmas. And she didn't realize how like big a blessing it was going to be to her family and to her employees to just unplug. And so now that's going to be something she does every year. So it's okay to close. It's okay to just take a break. The surprise and delight factor is also a way to sharpen the saw. So when things are crazy, isn't it extra great when someone thinks about you in that moment and does something that makes you smile? Like that is so great. And like you can be that person for like yourself or your spouse or your team. And some different ways that I like think is really easy. I literally at one point in time took some index cards and I cut them in half so you have these little paper squares, and I literally just like put all kinds of notes on there like, I love you, this Bible verse, like keep going, you're gonna kill it today, like just stuff like that. And then I literally took them and I hid them in the pockets of David's shirts. He's still finding them a year later, like, and he loves it because he like isn't expecting it and it just makes his day. How easy. I literally did that in 20 minutes and I'm making his day still a year later. Like, so you guys take that home. Another thing that is super easy to do, of course, this would be in your house and not in your business, but definitely don't do it in your business. I keep a dry erase marker in our bathroom. So if there's something that like, don't forget, we've got this appointment, I can put that on the bathroom calendar, but I can also be like, good morning. Like, just literally surprise and delight. It's very fun. And then, lastly on this point, sometimes for you to slow down and stop, you need to make an environment where it's conducive for that. So if your life looks really crazy because you got kids or you're like papers everywhere, like you just need to make a space in a room. Maybe you put command strips up and you just hang like Christmas lights because it makes a really great glow. And you just like have a movie night. Just think about ways that you can create an environment to really unplug without having to like leave town. All right, and the last one on this point is look for ways to make your job easier. So the examples that I have here may take a minute for you guys to work up to, but Stuart Gregg was talking about a big thing that they did is getting a walk-in cooler. That is able for them to pick more without selling out, but also his dad was able to get an enclosed tractor, and that has been really huge on their farm because now the spray is not going on his dad, and then he's also in the air conditioning, just making his life better. So being on the tractor really can be restful. So thinking about ways, these are big ways that will make your job easier, but there are small ways too. Like my dad, we call him the Midnight Farmer. He has a solar light on the side of his barn, because sometimes he's really not getting to the barn until 10 o'clock at night. But he didn't have to like scramble around and find a light switch or like make sure his like headlamp is charged up. He literally goes to the farm and there's a light on for him. And then he can go and like turn on more lights. So if there's like little things like that that you can implement on your farm that makes your life easier, go for it. All right. And as I close, this is my email for the ride home. Most of you have a couple of hours. I highly recommend the Lazy Genius podcast. Her whole thing is like, be genius about the things that matter and lazy about the things that don't. So if you've never heard of her, she's very entertaining, fabulous podcaster. And with that, we can transition to the next. Thank you. Okay, so speed networking is something new to try this year. The goal is to meet 10 new people, but we are getting a really small crowd. So here's what we're going to do. If you want to participate, this is how we're going to do it. Literally 2 steps. One is that we're going to have people on, I'm going to say the left side of the room, literally just make like a line. The goal is to make a circle, but there's not a lot of people. So maybe you just make a line down the center here. And then the right side will just find someone who's open. And then step 2, just always kick off your time with your name and your farm name. And then just some notes. If you want to exchange contact information, that is up to you. If you're in the middle of a good conversation, when I say switch, just tell the next person to line hop. If you are here as a couple or as you're like the same farm and you don't want to go solo by yourself, you can stay with your partner or you can go across the room, whatever you want to do. So with that, we'll get started. So if this side of the room, maybe just stand in the aisleway like here. Y'all won't move, but the right side will rotate people. So yeah, just staying on the edge. Even if you don't have a farm. Cheryl, everybody needs to meet you. Yeah, come to the edge. All right, I have prompts for you. All right, this side, if y'all find somebody to stand in front of, if it's not even, just pair yourself somehow. I have prompts for you, but you don't have to use them. But this is the first one. So you can introduce yourself to the person, and you can answer these questions if you'd like, and then I'll tell you switch in a minute.